All right, so I think we can start. If someone else will join, they'll just have to get back to the recording to hear the early parts. Okay, so again, good morning. My name is Paweł Staniec. I'm chief architect at Storware, and today, together with my colleague Patrick Bobak, we wanted to show you and tell you a little bit about KODO for Cloud, which is our solution for backing up cloud services. Currently, the supported cloud services are Office 365 and Box. Let's just start. Maybe at the very beginning, I will give you a brief introduction on where that concept came from. And maybe some of you are familiar with our offering of KODO. For a long time, KODO was a product focused on end-to-end company protection, taking into account both devices, shares, mobile devices, and services. But we found that this product is a bit too complex to actually cover or meet the market expectations. So what we did is we split the products into modules that are easily understandable and easily deployable, and can actually, in a flexible way, cover companies' needs to provide backup and data protection for their assets. So this is how KODO for Cloud was born, and its sibling KODO for Endpoints. So now these two are separate entities. Today we are going to focus on Office 365 and how it's backed up with KODO. So let's get started. All right, Office 365 market opportunity. As I'm a technical person, I'm not big fan of these numbers, but definitely that's an important thing to say. The overall adoption of Office 365 is overwhelming. It was 155 million in October 2018, so the growth is astonishing. But while the cloud is a very flexible solution for companies, we cannot forget about the fact that the data needs to be protected, no matter where it is located, whether it is our server room on our physical hardware or it is outside of our premises in cloud, because different things might happen. Now, why should you protect your Office 365 data? Well, first of all, there are human mistakes, both accidental and malicious. So there are people who accidentally remove their data and we're looking to restore them. And while it's not that hard to restore a file from a hard drive, it's becoming a problem if you delete all of your emails or a whole catalog, or it's just disappeared and you don't know where it is. So this is where KODO for Cloud will help you. We of course have attacks on companies by malware or ransomware. In these cases, KODO can also provide you a way to restore your data that's been encrypted or lost. And now the another thing is that cloud isn't given for a lifetime, right? You have to keep paying for this, and you have to be sure that you are paying the license. While all of the companies provide you a heads-up information when where certain data is going to expire and it's going to be removed, wiped out forever. Sometimes that information might be missed, and if you will not make sure that the data is protected on a solution that you control, you cannot have the full certainty that you can always recover what you want. Now, finally, there are cloud infrastructure outages that are happening, and even if they are not resulting in data loss, they definitely cause a situation where you lose access to certain data for a certain amount of time. It could be a couple of minutes, it could be a couple of hours. In a worst case, I think one of the biggest outages was it took more than 1 day, and certain companies without access to their Office 365 files, their emails, cannot actually run their businesses. So it is important to, in the worst case scenario, get access to that data. And even if that's going to be accessed temporarily through a website, it's always a lot better than not having that access at all. So this is really important. Now, we are offering a solution for these problems with KODO for Cloud. It has a easy UI. We made sure that it is focused on the thing, on backing up cloud services and only that. So a lot of options that were visible in the previous versions are gone. Now it's clean, minimum options, easy to understand, and just a couple of quick steps to get it installed and configured. It allows fast processing, which I'll explain a bit later, but we've modified the architecture in a way that it is easy to scale certain elements of this. So if you need to scale to hundreds or thousands of accounts, it is doable with our architecture. Now we have a great scalability based on a strong IBM's engine, and this is where we are talking about IBM Spectrum Protect, which was previously called Tivoli Storage Manager. So this mechanism gives us a couple of features kind of for free. So data is encrypted, deduplicated, both in transfer and at rest, and it is compressed during transfer. So we are getting good results in big amounts of data, while maintaining really efficient storage strategy. Now it is very flexible licensing. It has very flexible licensing and offering model, and this is based on per user licenses. So it should be as simple as possible to get started and protecting your data. Now, if we'll go down a bit to technical details, it has instant restore to local PC or to Office 365 Cloud. So if you want to restore certain data, you can download it to your PC, or you can restore it back to Office 365 Cloud. So if user deletes their emails or files from the administration console, the backup operator can actually find those files and restore them in place. So they will be visible immediately in Office 365. No need to pull them to a desktop and then import them again. So I think that's pretty nice. Although the other option is of course also possible if it's required. All the operations can be controlled by a RESTful API. So we are using KODO interface uses the same REST API that our customers can use. So if you would like to automate the whole process with your service desk solution, ticketing software, or any other software, now like CM engines or whatever else, you're more than welcome to do that with the RESTful API. You can trigger backups, you can retrieve information about backups, you can get information about certain files, or you can run automatic restoration if a user can provide the location of a file or certain options. So this could be automated, making administrator life really easy. Currently, we are supporting Exchange Online mailboxes, calendars, contacts, and files on OneDrive. We are working to make SharePoint and Teams available as well. This is planned for third quarter this year. So in third quarter, we will have pretty much full coverage for Office 365 files and data. Now, what are the key advantages if we are talking about the infrastructure? With this version, we have simplified the deployment using Docker. So these components that are used for creating KODO cluster are all Dockerized, so you can deploy them pretty much everywhere. So whether you want to run it on-prem or you want to run it in cloud, you can do that with Docker. That allows you to easily scale the solution for maximum efficiency. So if you need multiple APIs, multiple API instances, you can do that. If you need multiple agents to speed up the backing up process, you can do that. That totally depends on the needs and types of files and the amounts of accounts that are going to be backed up. Now we've got a step-by-step documentation, quick start guides, so the whole process shouldn't take more than 15 to 20 minutes, but in most cases it's even faster than that. Now, we allow for backup and restore, which is not really surprising for backup software, but I think we've spent a lot of time to make the process as easy as possible. So you can easily protect your Office 365 key resources. You can restore the data to a local PC or to cloud, and the data is redacted. The size of it is reduced by using deduplication and compression provided by Spectrum Protect. Now, from management point of view, depending on what type of administrator UI, because KODO supports multi-tenancy model, which I'll cover in a moment. But we've got an easy, intuitive administration panel. We are allowing to set up different protection policies, and we are working to have a global search provided for the administrator depending on the policy settings, as we are careful about data protection and sensitive data that will be protected from KODO. Now, the whole architecture consists of four pillars, or four components. So the agent is pretty much a data mover from cloud or from cloud services to our backend. We've got KODO Core, that's the backend itself, that's focused on data processing and contact with Spectrum Protect to store the data securely. Now we've got an administrative UI, which allows both instance administrators and organization administrators to configure settings, and is a central management point. And finally, the Spectrum Protect, that's our storage engine that delivers the backup and the data protection. Now let's move on. So that's the architecture, and something that I've been talking about. So the backup agents are contacting Office 365 and box services. We can have multiple backup agents, and we can scale it according to our needs to get a proper throughput of the system. We've got RabbitMQ that's helping us to keep things loosely coupled and have asynchronous processing of the data we are getting from cloud with the model where server is pulling that data from RabbitMQ at its own pace to guarantee that no other services or processes of data protection will be disrupted, especially for dozens of agents running simultaneously. Finally, KODO is using its own database where metadata is stored And finally, we've got IBM Spectrum Protect to store the data. Now, deployment is something. It's a pure joy especially for those who like modern deployment techniques based on Docker and containers. So we are storing those images in a registry, so customers would get an access to the registry of containers and will be able to deploy them anywhere they would like to, and they can either use Docker Compose configuration that we provide, or they could use Kubernetes, OpenShift, or any other solution, any other orchestrator that they are familiar with or comfortable with. Definitely, we could help them out. However, what we provide out of the box is a Docker Compose configuration file that sets up the stack with all the required components in place. So that's definitely the easiest way to set it up. Now, in terms of support for or usage of Spectrum Protect, we've got a very easy configuration. So one node in Spectrum Protect represents all tenants. We provide support for SSL connection. And we are using container-based and cloud pools to provide better protection along with the replication. So in terms of a supported version, we provide support for Spectrum Protect 7.1 and newer for the API level integration. Now, finally, we are getting to the multi-tenancy model. So depending on your needs and what you want to do with this, we either support the single tenant or multi-tenancy mode. Tenants are represented by organizations in our structure. Each organization represents, I don't know, maybe a company, or if you're a large company, that could be a department that could have different administrators, different policies, data protection policies. So especially for large organizations, that could be interesting, that marketing or development could have totally different policies from I don't know, information security departments or management board. So we definitely provide that functionality for service integrators. That could be used to offer KODO to their customers. That step of setting up the organization could be fully automated. Then administrator from a given company gets access and is able to configure protection for his employees, while the operator, or the KODO admin, as we call it, the instance administrator, still has a full control over instance aspect of KODO. So he controls the number of agents, gets information about TSM backend, how many data is stored there, how many data is left, and so on. So he guarantees quality of service for the customers. Now, for the licensing model, we've got a perpetual license with 12 months of support. A license is per user or per mailbox, or that's pretty much exchangeable. Now, depending on the need or interest, we are flexible in terms of payments. So either monthly, quarterly, yearly payment is. So this is, I think this is pretty flexible. And of course, pay-as-you-grow model for service provider is something we offer as a standard. Now, for support models, we have 3 models, but for the details, I would have to encourage you to go to our website. But basically, we've got 3 support models based on different SLAs. So with the lowest one is 8 hours reaction, 5 days a week. The highest one is 24/7. So I think that customers can find a good fit for them. And this is pretty much it in terms of the talking and the boring part. Now I'll pass the voice to Patrick, who will guide you through real hands-on on our lab environment. So you will see how easy it is to configure and protect the data. And finally, after that session, I think we could go and have a Q&A session if you guys would like us to explain some topics a little bit more. So thank you very much, and I'll pass the voice to Patrick.